people don't.
Yeah. Okay, to come up. Hello, Corinne. So lovely to have you back.
Hi, Callie. How are you? Thank you for having me.
It's always I always look forward to our sessions together because I learn so much, and even though I've been at this for a good well, I've been teaching for over 30 years, but working with neurodivergent students for at least 20 years now, I'm still learning so much
I
from
think
you.
we all
So
do
thank
because
you
it's
very much for coming on.
it's an ever-changing subject, and there's so much new research coming out.
Yes, yes, absolutely. And a lot of what's heartening is a lot of what I do intuitively. You've confirmed,
Mm.
through all the research and stuff and things like that. So, yes, when we're working with our neurodivergent community, I think it's really important to listen to your intuition because that is a very much part of a neurodivergent person's life as well because of the right brain dominance. So, yeah, well, thank you very much for being here. So today we're going to be talking about, and I'll give it over to you.
Yes. So, hello everybody. For those who don't know me, my name is Corrine Allan. I'm the manager of Capity Neurotherapy. I specialize in supporting children with complex behaving, which are on the neurodiverse spectrum, which maybe have ASD and as well behavioral challenges or sensory sensitivities. I have a real passion for it, but as well as a really passion for parents, which week after week I see parents emotionally burned out and really been for years trying to get support, and they even have a diagnostic and they have a name for it, but they don't know how to support a child through a sensory meltdown, or maybe a child which shows aggression or goes in a flight and fight mood. And the intervention techniques are quite often outdated, and quite often parents have as well bad advice to discipline their child or other things, which is nothing else than bad advice, because the sensory meltdown is not bad behaving. It's the child can't tolerate the inputs from the environment, and it just doesn't have the ability to respond to so many inputs, and it starts to shut down. So it's not bad behaving yet. A child maybe cries or screams, but it's not a tantrum. A tantrum is, I want the yogurt, and mommy says not before dinner, and then I go and make a hissy fit because I don't get what I want. But there we can reason with a child, we can explain a child, we can maybe make a compromise, or we maybe can see how we want to do it, maybe tomorrow after school, and then is a bit of break for dinner, and we can find solution. With if a child has a sensory meltdown, you can't talk to it. The system is shut down. It's like the child goes into a mini shock and works through all the fear and the anxiety experience from being completely overwhelmed till it comes down. And usually it's almost like a mini nervous breakdown, and it's really, really hard on children and on families and on parents. So we have a lot of solutions. Parents which have children which are on the neurodiverse spectrum, which are triggered to go to a supermarket, or like I had a mother coming to me from Wellington, lovely mother with an autistic 7-year-old child. And we had a really good session and everything. And the mother tried to put the child onto a toilet in our therapy room, which is familiar, every week the same. The child didn't need to go. And then she had to stop on Coastlands because the child needed to go, and she needed to go in a public toilet, which has these hand dryers, which are really loud. And the child had a complete meltdown. because of the environment and screamed, and it was really heartbreaking. And I noticed those hand blowers, which so make this really loud sound, how, you know, they just like triggers for neurodiverse children, and it really causes anxiety. So if you have a child with behavioral challenges, I can work with you as parents and try to help you to understand the behaving of the children, give you good intervention which work, or give you learning resources. We have courses which explains each sense and how the child responds. We can help you with resources like sensory blankets or lots of other things. So I can work with you and support you and strengthen you so you become an advocate for your child, or I can work with your child. Or Kali, if we can't help, we go back to Kali, which has all these network and resources and names and for all of New Zealand. And she's a specialist in her own way. So between us, we're definitely going to find out who is the person who can help you in your region, Christchurch, Taupo, Auckland, wherever you are. And we certainly both so passionate that we make sure you get the help you need and we follow up. So, you know, if you stuck, excuse me?
Sorry, that also applies to teachers as well.
Yes,
educators,
of course.
Because there's a lot of educators who are, you know, loca parentis, you know, while they're at school, and they see a lot of that behavior as well, especially at school, because of the huge stimulation going on when you're in an environment like a classroom.
It's quite brutal. Like today, I had a 10-year-old autistic child coming from school, and she's a lovely, gorgeous young lady, but she's in a classroom with 30 other children, and if she's overwhelmed, she cries, and then she gets bullied, or she doesn't have friends, and it's really, really harsh. So I do a lot of courses for teacher, for early childhood center, for centers which work with children with complex disorders or families. And I've been working all around New Zealand as well as Australia. So I think we done sensory courses. You've been on a course where we had sensory station and we explained different intervention tools and techniques and showed different things, and giving a lot of ideas to take home to create a sensory space or at school, or have sensory integration playtime at school. So that's what we do.
And I support Raising SENSEational Children is sorry, Raising SENSEational Children is a great resource. It's an excellent resource for parents and for teachers.
That's a good course. So our course Raising SENSEational Children has 4 modules. One is the how to calm down the child. We talk about the central nervous system, how to calm it down, how to calm behavioral outbursts down with natural intervention, and really good tips. And the second one is sound, touch, and vision sensitivity. The third module is sensitivity towards smell, texture, and taste. And the fourth module is motor functions, motor development, and body awareness. And we see all those sensory sensitivities in children with sensory processing disorder, but unfortunately we have a lot of children with ADHD and sensory processing, or visual processing disorder, or autism and sensory processing. It doesn't mean if your child has sensory processing disorder, it is under neurodiverse spectrum. It can only have sensory sensitivity, but it can be as well that your child is under neurodiverse spectrum and has, on top of autism, as well sensory sensitivity. So it doesn't mean if your child has sensory sensitivity, it's straight away in the neurodiverse spectrum. It can be completely independent, but often we see it in a combination. So just to be clear, it's a very easy way to find out if your child has sensory processing disorder. We have a free questionnaire to ask you about all senses and see, do you see this and this behaving? Kali has resources on the ARC education is free resources, and on my website, neurotherapy.nz, are free resources too. So if you have time over the coming holidays, have a look, browse through, and you always can send Kali or me email and ask questions, and that's free of charge. So we're here to support you. You're not alone, and Kali's a mother, I'm a mother. We have personal experience. The journey can be tough, and I was lucky to have support. You had support, and I think it's all about education support and never about labeling. It's always what can we do for the family and for the child to have happy children and happy families.
Yes, meeting needs rather than create. I find that we do need diagnosis, unfortunately, for
we do,
often for funding and for things like that. But if we are a fully inclusive practitioner or society, it's not about the diagnosis, it's about each child's personal needs. If we can fulfill those needs, a diagnosis actually means nothing in the end, because you're meeting the needs of that child.
I think I disagree with you a little bit, dear. I think the diagnostic in New Zealand is been given because it leads to individual learning plans and support at primary school and college. I agree with you that we need to be solution-orientated and not problem-focused, and I agree with you, we always need a client-centered approach. I completely hear you, but without the diagnostic, parents context as funding, they context as ILPs, individual learning.
Yeah, that's exactly what I said,
sorry if I misunderstood you. Sorry.
Okay, you do need a diagnosis for funding and for support. That is just how it is. But if we were a fully inclusive society, we wouldn't need the diagnosis before they got the support. Does that make sense? Would be
I think it's not yet learned in the society. I think there's a lot of not understanding. I have to say the Ministry of Education has in August released a new inclusive learning plan, and they have done an amazing job for inclusive learning. If the schools take...
Whether it actually comes to fruition, though, Corinne, is another... They've produced a lot of amazing plans, which just go to the wayside a lot of the time.
But I think the government has listened to the recommendation. Yes, how to get that through the process from the government to schools, to boards, into the classroom, that is a different challenge. But at least we have good recommendations from the government, which are up to date and which give a clear guidance for schools, which before they didn't have the guidance, they didn't know. So today we talk about motor functions. So we have gross motor skills, which is basically walking. We have cross motor skills, which both hands work together, or we can move the body here and here. Or we can do that. And we have fine motor skills.
Writing.
Hand and pencil grip and shoelaces and pearls on a string, or picking up pencils, all those things. With On the neurodiverse spectrum, we have two diagnostic which are specifically, we see motor development challenges. One is dyspraxia. Dyspraxia is a motor movement diagnostic where the child usually has quite a floppy body, not much body strings, not much core muscles, often bumps into things unintentionally, or the body awareness, like on a playground, it bumps into children or equipment, but it's not intentionally. And struggles with putting shoes on. It's very classical, shoelaces, anything with handwriting, like letter formation. And they often don't use the hand. The hands are quite weak. They have a strong avoidance tendency, and then they don't train the hands, and then those motor functions are not trained. So for children with dyspraxia, really occupational therapy and sensory play to really train the hands, and even with a ball, strengthen the hands, or with elastic around. In my fourth module, which is motor functions, there are 5 videos how you train at home hands through play, lots and lots of fun, and that those muscles are trained, and we're not after 5 minutes writing tired. So dyspraxia we see it from a really early childhood on, about 3 years old, that motor development is a little bit behind. Children can do very, very well in life if in the early years they have early intervention. And swimming is really good, playgrounds is really good, walking on the sand for balance, balance bikes, all those things, and Swiss balls, and picking up like a little basket with toys to strengthen body strength. So we have a lot of tips there to do that. So dyspraxia can be diagnosed, and you can train the muscles. It takes years, but once it's in place, the child has it. If the child has problem with fine motor skills, usually the gross and cross motor skills are not developed. You cannot develop fine motor skills unless the gross and cross motor skills are developed. So then we have to go back, and we really, can the child catch a ball? A lot of children can't do that. The eye-hand coordination is not developed. So that's what I do. I train them specifically with lots of different toys, the motor functions, and it's really interesting what a year difference can do, how you can see what the child can do, which it couldn't do a year ago. And once it's learned, the system understood it, it's there for life. So we have dyspraxia, and we have global developmental delay, where we have the same motor function delays. Every child varies. It's for each child different. But the very best thing is early intervention, walking, playgrounds, swimming, and just through play, use the body. Can the child swing? Can the child be on a bigger swing and cope with the balance? And can the child do roly-polies, or push itself up, or has reflexes, all those things. And the body and muscle have muscle memory, so it can be very well trained. Behavioral wise, we see a lot of avoidance for those children. We go out with those children after 10 minutes. Mommy, I'm tired, very fast tired. They either are like little tired potatoes on a sofa, or they go up and down the hallway and run till they collapse, and then they rest, and then they go again. So you often see them at school, they're lunching over the table, or everybody sits on the floor, and the teacher says something, and one child rolls around or rolls backwards, and it's really interesting, because what they do naturally, what they should do is moving to train their motor development, and they naturally do that. But then if they are at 5, maybe on a stage of a 4-year-old, and they naturally do what they do, the environment tells them not to do, and then they become really fidgeting and they don't know what to do. So one thing is really good, those noodles which you have for swimming, you get them at the warehouse, cut them up and put a string through it and put it on the legs of the chair. So when the chair sits, the child can constantly do that with the feet.
Oh, yeah, that's a good idea.
You can put a little weight bag, weight lap from SENSEational on the child, and the child gets a bit deep muscle pressure. Balls are really good for strengthening, or you can just, dancing is fantastic, any movement. But allow the child to move. Children with dyspraxia and global developmental delay, they should, after each session,
have a good
20 minutes on the playground, and then they can actually focus and concentrate. So motor movement, a lot of children come to me, they struggle at school with handwriting, and we need to go back to make the fundamental motor movements work them well, that the body automatically remembers them, and then the fine motor skills, if you have the right pencil grip or other things, comes relatively fast. I have really seen children which came to me which, there was no body strings at the age of 3, very fine children, very sensitive children. And the parents have come now for 2 years every week, and the child actually is doing well now at school. But it really needed that extra support, which, and it's amazing once they have one milestone, how another milestone falls in place. It's really quite amazing how fast certain things fall in place once you train it, and you train it the right way in the right sequence. So we see avoidance, we see a lot of tears, it's too difficult, I can't do it, a lot of frustration, and help, support as much as you can, encourage, and like on YouTube are really good videos how to tie the shoelaces rather than go over, under, through, where you have 2 of the same movements, and it's really easy for the brain to learn. So there are videos from occupational therapists which show you very simple ways to tie the shoelaces, because you have 2 of the same movements rather than one's linked over, under, and you get lost. Because it's hard, because the left side of the brain controls the right hand, and the right side of the hand the left. So if the cross motor is not developed, it's almost impossible for the child to do it.
They end up fighting each other, don't they?
And it can cause a lot of tears and frustration. So motor functions are really important and can be trained through fun interactions at home. You can make like a sensory diet, which means you play every night 20 minutes, maybe after dinner. You have a ball, and the child maybe needs to walk on cushions, and maybe needs to climb over a chair and climbs under the table and catches a ball, and then jumps with 2 feet, or makes right foot, left foot, or the right foot and the right arm, left arm, and all those things. And we done it as well with one of our children for about 3 years, and it was just fun time with mommy and daddy. And even on Pinterest, if you go sensory diet, you get free plans. If you go to YouTube, sensory diet for motor development, there are free resources as well. And my course has very specific how you train balance, how you train cross motor skill. with fun activity, which are strengthening as well the senses, not just the motor. So there it's very concentrated. For $2.50 you get 5 videos. You can keep them lifelong. You can get PDFs, so you can use them in the classroom, at home, and you can watch it with the children and do it. And it's really fantastic. Parents love it. So the reason why I promote that so much, it's not because I want money in my pocket. The reason is because you can wait up to 2 years for a clinical diagnostic.
Absolutely.
And you can really struggle to find specialists like me, like in the wider Wellington region. There are only a few and they're all booked out. Some not even take new clients. So if you wait for the system, you can wait for a long time. And I really would empower you not to wait. Just start. You can't go wrong. Everything helps to develop. And even if you just pay 1 hour with me and I exactly explain you how to do it and show you how to make an observation plan and give you resources, you can do that at home, and you not, by the waiting time, have lost 2 years of development, which are so important. So you can't wait for the system. We not have enough specialists, and the demand is way outshining what we can cope with. So the best thing is that you learn what your child needs. You understand your child's triggers. You understand the challenges your child has. You learn to use the right words to advocate at daycare and school, so other professionals can support you and become part of your team. And you do it at home. And even like we could do, maybe we have time now, it's almost 8 o'clock. So one of the very basic movements is actually on a piece of paper. Hopefully I can do that mirrored. It's actually down, up, and over. So you can do that movement if you are learning down, up, and over. If you learn letters, out of that comes H, M, P, N. There's another symbol, the circle, of course, where we then make other letters. But that's the basic down, up, and over. And if you do that in sand, or you do that with rainbow letters, down, up, and over, and out of that comes N, or M, or P, or D, B, lots of movements. That's the basic letter movement. And if children make, like for a circle and then a line, once on this side, that side, and struggle with letter movements, it can be motor movement challenges, but it can be as well dysgraphia. That's something else. But I really would encourage you to do that. And is it 5 with 8 little colors, or with the finger? It creates muscle memory, and it is really so important to get that right. Once you got that, yes, there's then a line. Where does the letter sit on the line? I do with my children on a piece of paper. I make a line in the middle, and the bottom is green and the top is blue, and the line is brown. So that's the ears. We have letters which sit on the ears. We have letters which go in the sky, like H, and we have letters which go in the grass, like P. And it creates a visual memory for the brain.
Yes. There's also, I don't know if you've heard, Corinne, of Casey the Caterpillar.
Yes, yes.
So I always teach handwriting via Casey the Caterpillar, because I've had great success with that as a teacher. And Barbara Brown, I think is her name, if I remember rightly. The story is the branch is the margin. Sorry, the trunk is the margin and the branch is the line. And, you know, the butterfly lays her egg at the beginning of the branch, and so that kids also get the directional aspect of writing, because quite a lot of the time you can see kids writing in the wrong direction.
Yeah, that's part of dysgraphia, but I think what you talk about is that they learn to experience a story. The story helps to remember how the caterpillar moves and how the letters come, and you know what sits. So that concept with the brown line of earth, green and blue is as well the same concept. Colors help to memorize the line, what sits on the line, what goes up and down, and it creates a visual memory. And the story, there's even, I remember the caterpillar, what he does, and then, you know.
And it talks about tall sticks, because quite a lot of the time children with dyspraxia don't understand the up, the down, and the over.
That's true. Yeah, that's true.
Tall stick is up, you know, and he crawls all the way down, and then he goes into a curly leaf for a bee, and it's very visual. So because
it is
that right brain dominant.
I think you're right, and I think the visual memory helps as well if you can do it in sand, because it becomes a muscle memory. If you can do it with Play-Dohs, or if you can put stones on a red L and you put the stones, and there's so many different things which all part. The colors helps the brain to remember, the story helps to emotionally connect, and the movement of the hand helps with the memory of what the fine motor skill should do. But Montessori has a really good way of learning, because the way they build the letters up before we even go into letter formation is a very specific way how motor skills are learned, and it's one of the best ways to really follow this individual step of motor development before we go into handwriting. And you can see where the child in the development is. You can see we have the first 3 steps, but those ones we need to develop. And you can buy Montessori kids. I have my ones over 20 years, and it never ages, and every child needs it. Some are longer in one process of learning, and maybe different ages, but the system still, after 20 years in education, the basic system, how the body learns and how motor movements are learned, it's still the same, and it works very well. So I recommend a sensory diet at home, lots of playtime on the playground, walking on the sand, the foot, every step is something different. We create balance, fine motor skills, build them up.
Is jumping on a trampoline?
Yeah, it's fantastic. Yeah, fantastic. Yeah,
it also stimulates the vestibular system, doesn't it?
Yeah, and if you not have money, you maybe get a second-hand mattress, and the child can jump and up on that, and really poorly. I've just been to Kmart in Peru, and they have these colorful mats which you can fold up and unfold, orange, and they're like a rainbow, and they're really easy to store, and you can you can roll on it, or you can put it on a chair, and there's lots of things you can do. Of course, always safety first. Don't tell me I put the mattress on the chair and the child fall over and it's your fault. But there are lots of things on a sofa which doesn't move. Maybe it's enough for the child to slide down and crawl up and builds those things in a fun way. And motor development are really, really important. They can interfere with social interaction because children unintentionally bump and then somebody pushes them and they're deeply hurt and they don't know why. And they can as well create insecurity if I can't catch a ball at sport or if I can't swim. And it can even create social anxiety that children don't want to participate. So yeah, my tip today is reach out to Carly, to me, if you need help. If you are in Tapa, Christchurch, anywhere, we know people which can support you. Use the time when you wait for diagnostic. Don't let 2 or 3 years of development go. Use it. Get resources like the one module we have, 5 videos and PDFs and lifelong is really good because you can use that for every child. You maybe have more than one child and every child needs to learn that, or you go into a play group and you have ideas what to do, lots of things, and become proactive. Don't wait for the system. Understand that behaving is a language. Once we understand the language and we give the right resources to the right problem, every child can learn emotional self-regulation. Every child can learn motor functions unless there are things you're born with, which, you know, makes motor development impossible. But generally, it can be learned. It may take a half a year longer or a year longer, but once it's in place, it never goes away. And then the next step comes. And once the first 3 steps of motor development are done, the other ones come relatively fast. So, and have fun because it's interaction, it's spending time with your child, it's creating happy memories, it's like praising them and, you know, having actually quality time together. And if it's just rolling the ball, and children love it, they just love it. Yeah.
And just that interaction with you, you know, that connection is possibly the most important thing, and that's what really brings around the healing and the wanting to get better and do things.
And happy children engage, and then they learn in their own time, in their own way. And all our brains work differently. I mean, I figured out with 50 things because my children being diagnosed, and I go, oh, I've done that all my life. There is a name for it. I didn't even knew. And, you know, in the younger years, I was really self-critical or thought at times I wasn't good enough. And through the training, I understood that this is how my brain works, that it's perfectly fine to do it this way, that I found a way how it works for me. And intelligence is something completely different. So the brain has brain functions and how the brain works, but we have practical intelligence, we have social intelligence, we have emotional intelligence, we have language intelligence with children, just intuitive understand languages. So there is intelligent, you can be super intelligent and you can have learning difficulties. It's not, you know, it's completely different. And we have geniuses which are in certain areas geniuses, and other things they really struggle. And we have many really famous people which have opened up and said, oh, I actually have dyslexia, or I actually have social anxiety or other things. So I really, really love children, encourage them, support them. And you as parents, please get your tribe together And my best support team was other mothers which walked the walk before me. They knew more than GPs and specialists. They knew this is how you have to do it, and this is how you get there. And I was like, oh gosh, you know, I tried for 2 years to get an appointment, couldn't. She said, no, you need this and this keywords. This is how you have to do it, and I got it. So mothers are really amazingly supportive and have empathy, because you can have really, really rough days. You really
absolutely
can.
Yeah. And it's really, I mean, even as a teacher, you know, you have days where it's just everything goes so well, and you leave there thinking, you know, I'm really good at this. And then the next day, everything goes to the dogs, and you leave there thinking, "Oh, why am I a teacher?" You know, it's just it's exactly the same thing being a parent, you know, and it's not even about you, really.
No, and that's what parents are generally good parents. I mean, I know we have social problems, and we have as well horrific things in our society, but generally they're good parents, and you can parent every day the same, and one day your child has a trigger and the other day copes, and you don't know why. It just is like that. But to burn out emotionally and to feel you're not good enough, or you feel you're not a good mother, I really believe if you have dedication and you understand sensory processing, you understand autism or dysgraphia, and you have the right tools for the right problem, you not become self-judgment. You just go, we have a problem here, this is how to solve it, and become solution-orientated. Don't stuck with problem focus. Go always, what is the solution? And it's like a puzzle piece, one piece here, there, and over time it really makes a big change.
Huge difference. Yes, definitely. Well, thank you so much, Corinne. Again, I've been taking notes furiously because I'm learning as well, which is absolutely fantastic. And anybody who's watching, I can't get my Facebook online at the moment, but anybody who's watching the recording, please remember that you can contact Corrine or myself at any time, and these videos will be up on the website and on the Facebook page for forever if you need them. And Corinne has very kindly passed on the checklist, and that is actually on the website as well, which you can download from the resources page.
The checklist is for baby years, toddler, early childhood, teenager, and it's specifically for sensory processing. So do you see that your child cries if it gets stressed, or do you see your child can handle like oven potatoes but not mashed potatoes? So it has specific question. And then if we have like 4 or 5 ticks in one area, we see, we have touch sensitivity or smell sensitivity, and we can help you with that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a really valuable resource. And these live, you know, these videos are really valuable as well. And your generosity in giving your time for free has been absolutely fantastic. So thank you very, very much. And I'm sure we'll have Corrine back in the new year and to talk about other things as well. So thank you very much, Corrine. I really appreciate it.
And I would like to thank you and all the amazing parents and all the amazing people out there which support neurodiverse children to have an inclusive generation, which the new generation hopefully has it easier, because the understanding is just so much better. And you're not alone. it can be a hard journey, but if you get support, we want a happy child and a happy family.
Absolutely.
And we want the child to be able to learn in his way and in his time. And every child can be educated, and every child can learn social interaction, but we need to give support where support is needed, and we need to have a strengths-based approach. I think that's the solution. And thank you very much, Kylie, for all your time organizing it, for your passion. I wish you all a really Merry Christmas, a wonderful break. It's been a busy year for all of us, and holidays can be challenging if you are out of routine. So
sometimes holidays sound lovely, but they're not.
If a lot of neurodiverse children, if they're not in a routine, it can be challenging. But even if I close for Christmas, I will check, emails and things. And if you need support, I will send you a little feedback. So
for me. Yes.
And have a great time, and thank you for having me, and thank you for this amazing community out there which does so much amazing work every day for those children.
Yes, we're growing all the time, and I don't think it's an ambition, it's a dream of mine to make this global so that we're all supported and that we're all part of a supportive, collaborative community rather than a competitive, exclusive community.
But if I see the progress New Zealand has made the last 10 years, it really gives me hope. And if I see how many parents are reaching out and understanding there is something above normal parenting and we need extra support, is really good, because I think all this education helps parents actually to open up and reach out and get support. And I really think the right support at the right time, it certainly changed my life. And I want to give that back to the community.
Which is fantastic.
Okay.
Thank you.
Bye, Kylie. Thank you so much.